All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're just... Oh, my goodness, this is crazy. We're broadcasting from the Marble Palace. I'm losing my mind. Watching Senator Jeremy Hutchinson chair the Judiciary Committee. It's like watching Dan Quayle or something. It's getting to that level. Well, let me just say this. Senator Hutchinson clearly knows what he's doing to stop the bills he wants to stop and get the bills through he wants to get through. But he is losing the respect of the committee members. I mean, I just am watching a video here, and it's pretty clear they're just tired of the games. And I just saw Senator Terry Rice get up and walk out, and Brian King get up and walk out after a controversial legislative procedure, thereby eliminating the quorum that they had, and they just had to dismiss the committee. This is nuts. We're here with former State Representative Donnie Copeland. Donnie, welcome back, sir.
Hey, good to be here, Paul.
So, anyway, it's been a crazy day of broadcasting here. We've kind of
a full moon out.
Maybe we've been ping-ponging around issues, but I want to settle down. I want to settle in on this because I got a text message. We've played this clip of audio of Jim Hendren from yesterday, citing his military service as a reason why you can't question his stance on the Second Amendment. And I have Jackie in Faulkner County writing, "I'm so offended that someone we currently pay at least 2 government checks uses his military service as an excuse to take away our constitutional right. I am only a measly taxpayer. I'm so offended by him. How insulting." So we have a listener, Faulkner County, Jackie. Jackie, thanks for listening in Faulkner County. We appreciate it. Donnie, people are kind of outraged by this. Have you heard the audio we're talking about?
I have not.
All right. Well, let me set this up for you. Senator Linda Collins Smith asking the question. Senator Jim Hendren's response. This is what it sounded like. Yes,
Arkansas would not let her protect herself, so she chose to go to a Texas school. Why do you want to hinder someone like my little daughter, who's an adult now? She has my grandson. She could shoot a gun, pregnant, not pregnant, young when she was small, we taught her how. Why do you want her to be treated differently than someone else that's able to, if she's on a college campus, to be able to be treated differently? Why do you want to hinder her rights?
You know, I have to be real careful here because you're talking about something that's a little bit sensitive, I think, to both the guys that you're talking to right here. When you start accusing people who put their lives on the line defending the Constitution of abandoning their oath to support and defend the Constitution because you disagree with where that line should be drawn on the Second Amendment, that goes down pretty hard.
Now, that wasn't the question at all to Senator Hendren. It was just about, hey, why do you support more restrictions than I do?
You know, this is a pattern, if you'll remember, we were all sitting in the gallery when the Arkansas military retirement bill was on the floor in the Senate. There was a question, and Jim Hendren used the same tactic at that time, if you'll remember, was how dare do you question me when I serve in the military? Yeah,
and I'm trying to find that because I know I have it somewhere. But you're right. That's exactly what he did.
And so my point is, you know, no one doesn't respect anyone that serves in the military, but that's totally separate from.
Thank you, Madam President. Member.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Don.
I think it's totally separate from an issue that is on the floor. Answer the question. Don't hide behind your military service.
Yeah. I don't know if this is it or not. This is Jim Hendren. It has to do with the internet tax. And this is what he had to say about that. Let's see if we can get it.
But I know, thank God, a lot of them stay there 20.
This is it.
And a lot of them in that 20 years are going to spend 15 years of it away from their family. And that's not exaggerating, folks. When I was deployed this year, we had a guy who celebrated his 5th year at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar out of the last 8. That's the kind of stuff that these people are putting up with. And for people to come down here and say, oh, my God, you're going to tax my download of Pokemon or whatever they're downloading? I'm not prepared to pay that kind of price for somebody who's put 20 years in. because Grover Norquist might scare me a little bit.
Yeah, so you're right. Your memory served you correct, Donnie.
Yeah, and again, it is deplorable, really. I think it's an insult to military service people that serve, because this is two different issues. Your military service, along with everyone else that serves, we respect and we admire, and we're very thankful for that. That has nothing to do with your service and you're answering the question about the First Amendment.
Yeah, Second Amendment.
I'm sorry, Second Amendment.
So I don't mean to diminish. I didn't serve, okay?
And neither did I.
Didn't serve. The amount of courage, the amount of to leave your family potentially, for to leave them alone.
No, but why do we even have to qualify that?
Right, I know. Why do we have to qualify? But the reason we do is because they equate service, military service, with the just default of giving them the benefit of the doubt to rule over us. To rule over us.
Yes. Because
you served, you now can't be questioned when you're going to pass laws that affect us potentially in a negative way or restrict my liberty or freedom. And I'm going to let you respond, Donnie, but I have to say this, and I don't mean to be rude or crude or let me say disrespectful, but Senator Hendren did serve. And I bet he served well. And I bet he is really good at following orders, because that's what a good soldier does. That is not exactly a asset when you are a state legislator. And I think we're seeing that now. I think Senator Hendren is really good at following orders in the legislature. Which is a good quality if you're a soldier, but not.
And maybe he's better at following orders in the legislature from his uncle than he is from the voters who voted him in.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. I mean, if you look at what do you need for a military service, you need good eyesight, good hand-eye coordination. You need to follow orders, qualifying. You need to do all those things. That doesn't necessarily make you a good legislator.
Well, and John McCain's a great example of someone who served valiantly, but
how dare you question John McCain?
Yeah, and who's become a terrible example for conservatives in the Senate. Now, here's something I found pretty interesting. I don't know how much time we have left in this segment, but I found something pretty interesting is what Senator Linda Collins Smith has done. If you'll remember, they were against the bill that had training in it originally, okay? Now she offers a bill that has no training in it, so now they offer, I guess Senator Garner offers a amendment, or at least Senator Hendren, or both of them.
Yeah, they're both their same amendment.
Okay.
I think Senator Garner had Senator Hendren, kind of. He was next to him, but it's kind of like maybe it was more Senator Hendren that wanted to lead the parade. That tends to happen. Hey, you.
Yeah. So they had this come to Jesus meeting and realize, hey, well, maybe we are for a bill that has training in it, when they were against the bill that had training in it previously last week. So really in a kind of a reverse, strange sort of way, by Linda Collins Smith moving to the right of the original bill, she's drugged them from the left to at least the center, if not a little bit to the right.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. That's a good point. They would probably dispute that because they don't want her to get any credit at all. They can
dispute if they want to, but the voting record's there.
They don't want Linda to get the credit. From what I hear happened in Senate Judiciary this morning with Terry Rice's bill, they don't want him to get the credit. I think that's what this is for some weird reason.
They're wetting their pants that college presidents don't want this. And those guys are very, very powerful. They're very, very influential. They've got the governor's ear, and who gets sacrificed on the altar of political correctness is the taxpayers and sons and daughters of our citizens who are attending those colleges that are left as sitting ducks if something were to happen on those college campuses.
Yeah.
Here's what I would like to see sometimes is when these guys say, oh, we can't have that. Okay, so then are you willing to be liable if something happens on a college campus? Are you president of XYZ College, Senator Hendren, Senator Garner, are you willing to be liable if something happens? They're not willing to do that. So let our citizens protect themselves. Let the Constitution stand, and quit getting in the way of people who want to practice their Second Amendment rights.
Yeah. I think you're right there. And if you, by the way, if you want that video, we had it posted on our Facebook page, Senator Hendren earlier, and it appears. I guess I don't see it anymore. It's almost like it's been taken down or something, so that's strange. We'll make sure we get that posted back up here in a moment. And I'm looking at Twitter right now. Man, it's so interesting to just see some people on Twitter and how they always want to go out of their way to take the opposite issue of conservatism. I don't want to get into specifics. I'll just really. This is now me playing the credit game. There's just certain people I just don't want to mention on the air. You can follow me on Twitter, though, folks. It's at Paul Harrell 1776. That's at Paul Harrell 1776. There was something else that Senator Jim Hendren said. It had to do with what would pass. And he said that Linda Collins Smith amendment simply wouldn't pass.
So he has a crystal ball now?
Yeah. I guess he does. I just disagree with that. Jan Morgan disagreed with that earlier because it's pretty clear that if they get down there and they vote against the Second Amendment, they're going to lose primaries.
Look, just say my uncle doesn't want this. We're scared of this. But don't use things that, just like when David Ray was on here talking about how a majority of people do not want a gasoline tax.
Yep.
Don't misconstrue things. Just say we don't want it. They can't do that. They can't say, look, we want to raise your taxes or we want to restrict your Second Amendment rights. They've got to couch it in a way to where, that wouldn't pass. Well, pass it and see what happens.
Yeah. And I want to go back to the gas tax here in a minute, but this is kind of the way I would summarize this. If you think about the scenario that Linda Collins Smith was laying out there in that committee meeting, she was saying, look, my daughter, or you could even take Jan Morgan's daughter, but specifically Linda Collins Smith's daughter, why do you want to take her right away? She even said, hey, she can use a gun if she's pregnant. She now has a child now. Why do you want to do that? And, Senator Hendren basically said, well, I want to do that because I'm in the military. It just doesn't make any sense. It's really, really weird. And I got a feeling that if there's vets listening, they're going to be kind of upset with that, just because it doesn't. I don't think that represent. I don't think there's many veterans out there that if you could envision a life where you were in politics, that you would use that to not answer a question honestly.
I agree, and I think actually, and I can't speak for them, but it would just seem like that is not something that they would use.
So I mentioned primaries a second ago. If they vote against the Second Amendment, I feel like it'd be very vulnerable for primaries. I think it's obvious that these Republicans down here, the majority, the ones in leadership, are not conservatives, and we've got some serious issues, and I think primaries are the way to go. I'm hearing talk of primaries not just from me and people in my circle. I'm hearing other groups, from everything to school choice groups to just a wide variety of people that say, we got 76 Republicans in the House, we got a massive majority in the Senate, and we can't get these basic conservative reforms through. I'm going to be knocking doors supporting a primary candidate for these people, because the only thing these people are going to understand is losing power. They think there's no price to pay for what they're doing down here. And the gas tax is case in point. State Representative Dan Douglas of Bentonville needs a primary opponent. He needs one to announce now, as far as I'm concerned. It might save the taxpayers money. We may not have to give as much because he may back off from all of this. But he needs a primary opponent. He is the one that's now sponsoring an increase of 6.5% in gasoline taxes on the wholesale price, which will get passed on to the consumer, which will be about 10 cents a gallon if you look at what the wholesale price of gas is now. We did all this math in the first hour. And they're going to disguise it by saying, we want to refer this to the people to vote on. And then what you vote on won't even mention the gas tax. It'll mention economic bonds, or bonds for economic development. And if they vote for that, then it triggers the gas tax. Now, Josh, am I right on that? Nod your head, pretty much? Okay. So we have Josh Waters sitting next to us.
Which is so deceptive. And again, therein is the problem. Just say we're going to raise your gasoline by 10 cents, but they're not going to do that.
It's dishonest. If it were honest, fine, do it.
And people voted for it.
And then go to your constituents when you get the primary opponent and convince them that you were right.
Yeah, and tell them, say, we're going to raise your gas prices by 10 cents a gallon, because we expanded Medicaid, and now the bill's due, and we can't pay it, so we've got 8 tax/fee increases, and so we're looking for money under every rock that we can find, and we can't tell you that what everybody told you was going to happen has actually happened. So what we want to do is do this, and if you're okay with that, then vote for me.
Have you followed the D.C. Obamacare?
Yeah, I've been following it a little bit.
A lot of people say it's a dumpster fire.
Well, and honestly, I'm kind of intrigued by it all, because on one hand, the president says that's one of 3 changes. I think if he did do the other 2 changes, if he did open state lines to competition, and you added those other 2 components, here's what I always look at: who's against it, who's for it.
Well, yeah. Right now, Paul Ryan is for it, and Rand Paul is against it.
Yeah.
Which one of the Pauls am I going to choose?
Yeah.
Right.
But then you have the AARP against it. You have the ASA against it. Was it American Physicians, whatever?
Yeah.
AMA. There's a mixed bag here.
Yeah. And I'm not one of. I mean, obviously, it's a huge program, and they have to get rid of it. And I know it's really complicated, but here's what I want to know. Is a 25-year-old man going to be able to buy a catastrophic insurance policy, for an affordable price, and or are they going to have to continue to buy these policies with maternity care when they're men instead of women? If they can't in this first draft fix something like that.
No, I totally agree.
Then this is ridiculous.
I totally agree. I think that, and then also I think the pre-existing conditions. I think that there needs to be a provision for that. But I'm totally with you, and that if people can live in their mother's basement and stay on their insurance. I'm not for that. I think people need to
follow your dreams. Stay on your parents' insurance till you're 26.
Yeah, and cut the apron string.
Get
a job.
Extended adolescence is working amazing for this country. I mean, right? Hey, I tell you what was so encouraging. What was so encouraging is to see Trump go and meet those like it was like a 4th grade class during the White House.
That was
Did you
really
see
cool.
that? And you know what our president said? He said, "Work hard." When's the last time? I mean, first of all, everyone looks to him as a role model, obviously. When's the last time you've heard a president just tell a bunch of kids, hey, work hard?
It hadn't happened in a while, because they wouldn't even open up the White House to tours.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they were using it
to punish the people with the sequester.
People and hide behind that, kind of like some people use the military to punish people. So.
Oh, man, Donnie, that's a good one. I like that.
So, hey.
Touche. Hey, Conduit for Action just put out an action alert. That's right, action alert. I just retweeted it, and don't tell me it's gone. Okay, yeah, there it is. Let's pull this up real quick. Action alert, stop the gas tax increase, HB 1726 and HB 1727. They are expected to run tomorrow, March the 9th, in the House Public Transportation Committee. It will be over in the MAC building, which has no cameras and no recording equipment. Conduit Media will be there trying to get as much as we can. That's good quality audio and video of these politicians that are raising your taxes. Again, it imposes a 6.5% sales tax increase on wholesale gasoline and diesel. This will cost people across Arkansas on every single gas purchase they make. It would make $200 million annually from the pocketbooks of people all over the state. Let's stop right there. $200 million they're taking from us. They're taking $140 million with the internet sales tax if they pass that. So we're looking at, what is that? $340 million, and the governor will run on re-election claiming he cut your taxes by $150 million. Now,
I would love to take those 7 or 8 tax/fee and get a totality.
We got to do that. That's got to be Well, there's got to be a write-up or a graph or something. We will be more taxed at the end of this session than we were going in. We will be owing the government more money.
Not even close.
Yeah, it's
the difference.
It's not even going to be close.
I'm going to tell you something, Paul. I am so thankful for groups like Conduit, groups like AFP. Can you imagine if we didn't have groups like that?
That's a good point.
These citizens are out there working. Your listeners, they're working a job. They're fighting, scratching, and clawing to try to make a living, trying to put bread on the food on the table. Thank goodness for groups like this that let us know about these things that are happening.
Yeah, we got to go to break here right now, but I want to, real quick, at conduitforaction.org right now, it's the top of the page. They have this action alert, and they have everybody who's on the House Transportation Committee that will be voting on this tomorrow and their telephone numbers.
We need to list them.
You need need to call them. You need to text them. Call them, text them, leave them voice messages. We're talking about Republicans like Mike Holcomb, Marcus Richmond. Then we got Representative Fred Allen, Leanne Birch, David Fielding, Carolyn Brown, Jack Fortner, David Hillman, Steve Hollowell, Lane Jean, Tim Lemons, Roger Lynch, Andy Mayberry, Ron McNair, Clint Penzo, Matt Pitch, Johnny Rye, Jim Sorvillo, Jeff Williams, and Carlton Wing. These are the 20 representatives that are on this committee. Go to Conduit for Action right now, conduitforaction.org, and text and call these people and tell them if just say to vote no on it. Vote no on the gas tax and say, look, you're going to recruit somebody to run against them in a primary. There are people that voted to refer gas taxes to the public last time that are no longer in positions of power. We have to take a break. Donnie Copeland, thank you so much.
Hey,
sir.
My pleasure, Paul.
Folks, back in a minute.
This is ASA News, The Parrot. With breaking news from the Capitol in Little Rock. I'm Bob Maloney. There are reports circling around from politicians who are in the know, and the same phrase keeps being used. That phrase is new revenue generation. Let's go to our reporter on the ground from the Capitol, Haley Hogwash. Haley?
Thanks, Bob. Yes, it seems the more politicians I talk to, the more I hear the phrase new revenue generation. We're trying to figure out exactly what that means, but you can rest assured it will be good for the people of Arkansas.
Haley, it certainly sounds like something good. I like how the phrase uses the word generation. That makes me think this has got to be doing something positive for our children in the future. Haley?
Yes, Bob, some new developments. I've just been speaking to some people who are here and are not politicians, and they tell me the phrase new revenue generation is actually code for a new tax.
Oh, my. Well, if this is true, Haley, that would add to a growing list of new taxes that have barely made any headlines at all, so it's best not to discuss them here on ASA News, The Parrot.
Yes, Bob, I know it's sure to make government officials angry that their phrasing of the new revenue generation has been changed by the people and called a tax increase.
I would expect an announcement from Mother Government soon to set the record straight. What is the new tax? Revenue generation, Haley?
Well, this new tax, a new revenue generation would add to a growing list. First, there was a revenue generation on movies, books, and songs that people download using the internet. And next, there was the tax increase. The new revenue generation on all purchases made using the internet. And now I'm told this new revenue generation is a tax on the people's patience.
I realize the people don't like it, Haley, but specifically, what is the new tax? Revenue generation.
No, Bob, I'm telling you, according to the activists here at the Capitol who have gathered and are listening to some radio broadcast, the revenue generation is literally taxing the patience of the people of Arkansas. I'm told the less patience you have with the government.
The government better not tax our...
All right, folks. Hey, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for being with us for our Mountain Talk 97 audience. You guys have one more hour coming your way next. It was a great one. We talked to David Ray from Americans for Prosperity, Donnie Copeland, Jan Morgan, and Colonel Paul Deckert from the Center for Security Policy. Arkansas, thanks for listening. We'll be doing this again tomorrow from the Marble Palace. Be safe.